How frustrating it is to be lonely and horny, isn't it? How frustrating when they want you to make love and share milkshakes, but deep down, what you're thinking is, sticks and stones may break my bones, but chains and whips excite me. Nah, 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 come on. Boy, tie me up. Come on. Well, if that sounds like you, then here's my top 4 films about horny and lonely women. Welcome, women. First film, May. You like weird, baby? Okay, let me show you my collection of stuffed baby roadkill animals. Let me show you under my bed. Do you really think you like weird now? The film May tells us the story of, well, May. A young woman whose life has been marked by bullying and loneliness due to a lazy eye and a sabotaging mom. Now, as an adult, I have to admit that May has become an odd person, to say the least. May spends her days working at a vet clinic of a terrible veterinarian, which leads to a lot of faulty procedures, and she's a girl that just really doesn't know how to socialize. Her best and only friend is a doll that she talks to, and who talks back to her, and she's longing and yearning for a romantic relationship. At the clinic, she works with Polly, a receptionist who's very clearly interested in her since day one. And at the laundromat, she meets Adam. Adam is a filmmaker boy that's into gory, freaky stuff, cigarettes, films, girls, and that's pretty much his personality. But anyways, May falls in love with him immediately, like we all have if you've ever been to art school. And the thing is that he seems to be into her too. The problem is that once they start going out, turns out that Mr. Freak is not freaky at all, because the moment that May bites his lip when they're making out, he gets upset and never calls her back. From bitch's boy lover number 1, May ends up getting involved with lover number 2, Polly. But Polly, it's a girl that even though she's sweet, she's not really looking for anything serious, which makes May feel, well, betrayed and left out. Like I said, May is very clearly strange. But the thing is that she knows, and she warns Adam and Polly before they start dating. She tells them, like, I'm strange and weird and nobody's gonna ever like me. And what they both say is, I like weird. Okay, for this film, saying May is horny and lonely is not a hot take at all. Basically, the whole film talks about extreme loneliness. And she has a lot of things that I think that lonely people have, or that I've had them in the past, so I'm assuming that everyone does. She likes to collect things that she likes. Like, she's very into her hobbies and into her passions. She has incredible creativity. She has a dependency on her doll, or I guess her comfort objects. She has a lot of empathy for people that she considers that they're lonely as well. And she has a desperation for human connection. To the point that, for example, when she lets Polly hit, she's not really that much into Polly. She just, takes the chance, I guess. But I included it because it's not a hot take. I just want to talk about why people abandon her. And I want to focus on where her loneliness stems from. May's oddness, for Polly and for Adam, is the point of attraction. She's weird, she's different, she's an experience they want to have. And so they both objectify her. They don't love her because of who she is, weird and all. They love her because of the adventure that she could give them. She's a prize. And if you're in a relationship like that, you will always lose. It will be a lose-lose situation for May and for you if in real life. Because if May were to behave like any other girl and she just wanted to be taken out and, have food and watch a film and go on cute dates, whatever, she'd be boring and common, and she will just be another common girl. They will probably not even be interested in her in the first place if she were like this. But if she lets herself go and confesses her deepest weird-ass tendencies and shows her personality, which is what happens in the film, then she's gonna reach their limits. Which is also what happens in the film, especially with Adam, because he's a vanilla bitch-ass boy. Adam breaks up with her because she's simply too weird, too clingy, too broken. And that is exactly what happens when someone doesn't want you for who you truly are, but just for the ride, for the experience, for the roller coaster that you're gonna give them. So if you're going through this kind of relationship in real life and you're like a super cool girl with a lot of personality and like cool makeup and cool, I don't know, like you're goth or whatever, gótica culona, something like that, and you're going with a basic ass, normie ass boy, then leave him. Just assess the situation and really think about whether he's going out with you because he likes you or because he's just, I hate that. That's how guys talk, no? So anyways, what May needs to find, really, it's a real freaky person that loves femcells, amputation, and DIY Lolita punk clothes. In case you haven't watched May, my hairstyle is in honor of the film. And also I got these lips, as if I had been making out with someone, which is not true because my boyfriend is not home. So horny and lonely tonight as well, girls. It's fine. We're together in this. Second film, The Piano Teacher. The piano teacher, my piano teacher, light of my life, fire of my loins, my sin, my soul. The piano teacher, my Shayla, my pick a film to send to space movie. Because yes, I do want the aliens to have this image of human beings, of humanity. I'm joking, don't do that. This film tells the story of Erika, a piano teacher in Vienna, Austria, Central Europe, zone zero of weird messed up sex. Erika lives an utterly asphyxiating life triggered by her mom, who is the most toxic human ever and spends her days either putting Erika on a pedestal or dragging her worth through the mud. Quite literally. No, not really, but One night, Erika and her mom go to a private concert and Erika meets Walter. A young, blonde, tall, smart, rich, gifted musician who will become infatuated by her. So much so, he decides to join music school for the sole purpose of having Erika as a teacher. He tries to seduce her and Erika eventually gives in a little bit, but then she rejects him and then she tries to get together and then he rejects her and it's like back and forth for a long time. But the interest of this film is not on their love story. It's actually on the fact that Erika has very, very unusual sexual tendencies. More of the likes of kink and BDSM, I would say. So basically what this whole film is a failed attempt of Erika to engage in an intimate relationship with Walter. What Walter wants, Erika can't give. And what she wants, Walter won't give. He wants a common girlfriend-boyfriend relationship with weekend getaways and stolen kisses in between, the city's buildings. And what she wants to be is tied up and gagged in his room while he fetches a yogurt from the supermarket in another city and punishes her for existing. And I mean, who will not want that? Don't you know modern love, Walter? Let's analyze a bit. Erika is super duper horny. But the thing is that Erika is into BDSM, she's into voyeurism, I don't know how to say it. She's into sadomasochism, she's into kink. But the problem with all of this is that she also has an inability to consummate sexual desire. She has no sexual partners and she doesn't self-pleasure. And so all that pent-up frustration comes in the shape of self-charm and I guess doing like little bitchy acts towards other people, which is something that we could probably all incorporate into our life. If you put this all together with the fact that when she thought she found a boy she could trust, he rejected her desires the moment she expressed them, then you're in for terror, which is kind of what happens in the film. But my point is that for Walter, Erika is a sort of lost treasure. He wants to be the one to find it, to open it, and to expose it to his definition of desire. He looks at her with superiority, like a sort of sex white savior, assuming that she's living life wrong. But when Erika actually opens up and talks about the definition of right for her, he goes crazy because she's too much. She's sick, she's deprived, and above all, she, with her pleasure and her weird, tendencies, exposes a side of him that he's ashamed of. Because how can I, a white, blonde, smart, popular, gifted, rich boy, be into this weird-ass femcel? Like with May, he wanted to save a petite, cold, innocent teacher from her boring life. But when he tried to, he actually found a repressed bitch with a voracious appetite. And that just didn't fit into his narrative and his story and what, he wanted to achieve. Because God forbid a girl's trying to have kinky submissive sex without being judged. Just tie her up and shut the fuck up, Walter. Adios! Adios! Ay, bless me. 3. The Dreamers. That was a bit of a British accent, isn't it? I lived in London for a long time, so only on my, last year of living in London, I actually achieved a semi-British accent, and now I've lost it, and I've gone back to just watching films in American English. Now I just kind of have a mix of everything, because there's just some things I just can't pronounce, you know what I mean? Like the R's in English are complicated because I tend to roll my R's because I speak Spanish. It's like this whole thing. Anyways, I'm going completely overboard. Let's go back to the films. Bertolucci. Stay away from my cootie. Oh, to be a twisted Italian male director with no accountability or repercussions to his actions. All while making films about grape and incest. The Dreamers tells the story of two French siblings, Isabel and Theo, and Matthew, an American exchange student spending a year in Paris during 1968. In case you don't know, because you don't have to know, 1968 was a pretty important year for France because there were a lot of student riots and protests asking for working class rights and for a change in political system, something like that. When Isabel's and Theo's parents leave to go on a trip, they invite Matthew to live with them for a month. During this time, they drink, they talk about films, they reenact films, they talk about music and listen to music. It's a sort of ode to cinema. Matthew, slowly, or like rather fast to be honest, is falling in love with Isabel. But he actually discovers that her and Theo have an unusual relationship. They sleep together naked in bed. At some point, Theo masturbates in front of his sister. They bathe together. And they have a very lax, sensual relationship going on that is very new for Matthew, obviously, like it will be for probably all of us. When he confronts Isabel about this, she says that Theo and her are joined through the mind, and that if anyone were to find out about the kind of relationship they have, then she will have to analyze herself by inhaling glitter straight from the bottle or something like that. Matthew starts pursuing a relationship with Isabel, separate from Theo, which, long story short, just doesn't work. Theo gets jealous of her, and then Isabel gets jealous of Theo, and there's a lot of anger. And well, Matthew realizes that there is no such thing as Theo and Isabel, but only Theo/Isabel, which might be quite frustrated if you bear in mind how messed up the relationship is. Why did I include this film here? I know it's probably not your obvious choice for this category, but the thing is that I think that Isabel is one of the loneliest characters I know. You have to understand that her big love is her brother, and she is conscious of the huge moral dilemma that is. Try to leave your moral compass aside while we talk about this film, okay? No matter how many people she tries to date, it will never be enough. And not just that, she can't tell anyone, for obvious reasons. They are stuck with this love story in their minds and in the privacy of whatever space they can find. And as messed up as it is, I know it's messed up, it's fine. She has already found the love of her life, her brother. And in terms of touch starvation, and I don't know if that word exists, I really feel sorry for her because her intimate life is absolutely frozen. She's destined to remain untouched. And even if she's touched, she will never be touched by the person that she wants to be touched by, her brother. So unless the siblings decide to like cross the line of morality, which they don't do in the film, it will always be a battle between taboo and true desire. Plus, I don't think that Theo is a very nice guy to be in love with. At some point, for example, he forces Matthew to have sex with Isabel while he's watching. In my opinion, I think it is to experience a sexual relationship with his sister vicariously through Matthew. But at the same time, when their relationship, Matthew's and Isabel's relationship, starts to grow, he puts a stop by it by pushing his sister's buttons because he knows exactly how to trigger breakdowns in her. And that is obviously really cruel, but it's also super isolating and frustrating for Isabel, I can imagine. Because in a way, she's just tied up to her brother's will. And that's just one-on-one toxic relationship. And I really do think that he's the one handling the strings of that relationship. I'm not saying that she doesn't get jealous and she's not, messed up as well or like encourages that. But she very organically starts liking Matthew. And the only time where Theo engages in like some kind of romantic relationship with someone else is to push Isabel's buttons. And that's just manipulation. And as a last note, by total coincidence, I'm reading the memoir of Peggy Guggenheim. And in the chapter where she talks about her first marriage with Lawrence Vail, she mentions the unhealthy relationship he had with his sister, which I think explains the movie really well and also the level of built-up tension in between the siblings in The Dreamers. And so the book says like this. She adored her brother with a passion one could not fail to admire and which he reciprocated. They gave one the feeling that they were made for incest, and by not indulging in it, they augmented their frustrated passion. Everything was my brother with Clotilde. Clotilde was the sister. She did not relinquish 1 inch of him to me. Fuck, imagine being stuck in there. But anyways, this is just another example and proof of my love for French films.
It's one of those nice, gentle French movies where you have incest, which is portrayed as a nice secret between mother and son. I like this.
Fourth film, The Shape of Water. Well, girls, it's hot in my house. Let me ask you a question. Who will you rather date? A hot amphibian, tall, slim, veiny arms, broad shoulders, godlike, magical Latino creature from the Amazon River? Or, I don't know, let's say, first person that comes to mind, a fascist. The Shape of Water follows Elisa Esposito, a cleaning lady at a high-security laboratory in the United States of America. Elisa is mute. She communicates through sign language, and that leads to a lot of finger pointing from her colleagues. She's considered weird, she's odd, and she's considered slow, as if like not talking meant you're, I don't know, brain dead or something. I don't know. Just people being weird. One day they bring in a creature that they have captured in South America to experiment with and to, find more about it. Elisa, out of curiosity, starts building a relationship with the amphibian man. They communicate through music, through sounds, through signs, through signals, and they share things that they like for example, boiled eggs. Their relationship grows and develops, and they fall in love. They fall in love so much that when the life of the amphi-man is in danger, Erika does everything to save him, everything she can. At one point, she takes him home, and they engage in an emotional, romantic, and sexual relationship. Because this is my last film, or the last film that I'm going to talk about, I'll like to give it a slightly different perspective to loneliness and horniness, but mainly loneliness. Elisa in the film, yes, she is lonely. She's lonely because she's different. Because people weirdly consider that her disability makes her inferior. However, unlike the other films, she's not horny or touch-starved. She takes care of herself, if you know what I mean. And to be honest, the sex with the amphibian man comes quite naturally. It's not weird, and, it's something that doesn't happen in the other films. But this is not the only point that differs from the other movies. In this case, Elisa's loneliness doesn't make her bitter, spiteful, or frustrated. It enhances her empathy. What I think is that when you're lonely, you become much more observant than when you're, full of distractions and full of people in your life. You transition into a state of contemplation of your own life, of other people's lives. And if you do things from empathy and not from hate, you can actually reach breakthroughs, or I like to believe that you can. Elisa is the first person to give a chance to this creature. She's the first one to consider that maybe he can feel. And she can do that because she knows how it is to be considered odd, and she knows how it is to be lonely. And so she doesn't want to perpetuate the things that have been done to her into other people. She doesn't judge people, or at least judges them differently, because we all judge people. That's just human nature. So yes, I wanted to finish with this film to escape a little bit the cynical tone of the past 3 films, and to remark that being lonely doesn't always have to have terrible consequences, okay? If you're a person that's always felt a little bit different to everyone around you, or like you don't quite fit in, I think these films will resonate with you. I'm not trying to be like shallow and be like everything is gonna be fine, but I do think that the people that will fully accept you for who you are out there, and they will come into your life. And perhaps sometimes it just takes time, and you just have to look for them in unexpected places, like Elisa, which I know is hard, because things are awkward. And Gen Z, we're not very good at just like talking to people in the street, But I guess you'll find them. We'll all find them. I don't know. Even if I get 3 views, we're all finding each other. So let's not fall into cynicism and bitterness, girls. Let's not be like incels, whose loneliness is just a confirmation that everyone else is a bitch, and the problem is everyone else's. So, well, women, that was the end of my film recommendation. If you've watched them, then please comment your views down below. Because I will really like to know what you think. Also tell me maybe like improvements and stuff like that. I'm still learning. I don't know. It's very trial and error. And if you haven't watched them, then go watch them. Even if you have to pirate, it's fine. Just pirate. It's fine. The internet is there for you to take. And well, if you enjoyed the video, then like and subscribe. But above all, please comment. I love reading people's comments. It's the best part. I don't know why everyone's so obsessed with likes. Getting comments is just so fucking exciting. See you next time. Bye bye. Mwah.